Okay, so what we have here on the board, if anybody's looking, is some muted colors that I created. I'm going to take my reference up. Some muted colors that I created for this painting that I'm going to do. Is I'm continuing with the little farmhouse animals. Um, and I have created some really nice muted colors. I didn't want to go so bold with my color palette like I usually do. You've seen me like really go very saturated with my palette, okay? But this time I wanted to not do that. So I'm hoping this don't fall. Let me grab a clamp to clamp this on. But I'm going to have some white in it, of course, because I'm painting a sheep, right? And if I'm painting the sheep is predominantly white, but I also have to consider that there's other undertone colors from his skin, not just his wool. And when you are doing your landscapes, you have to keep in mind about the reflective colors that are around, let's say, your sky and your grass. Okay? Reflective colors really matter a lot. For example, um, this here lighter color that I have here is pretty much going to be my white. Let me move that over just a smidget so you can see it. It's going to be my white. Now you can see here that I mixed a lighter color. Let's get that light on there really good. So I can add a little more white to this as I need it, but I didn't put it as my color swatches. So when I've been showing you guys how to do color swatches, it really matters. Now here's my drawing on my canvas of my sheet. But notice on my canvas to the left is where I have my color swatches. You don't have to have it on your canvas. You can have it somewhere else, like maybe here, or your palette could have it. Okay, this is a Grays Matter palette. The reason that I do the gray is because I think that colors underneath show better than white. Um, so when I took a photo of my color swatches that I'm going to use, I not only looked at the color value, I looked at the values by changing this color palette here to black and white. So that goes for everybody. No matter what you're painting, when you do your color palette and choose your colors and you do your swatches, turn your color palette with the mixed colors into black and white from your phone to make sure that you can checkpoint how many values that you have. You need a variety of them. You need your lights, your mediums, and your darks. This really makes a painting stand out a lot. So let's go over, I'm using oil paints, and I do try to stick with a limited color palette. Well, Ms. Sherman, what is a limited color palette? It's you limiting the amount of colors that you choose. And some people choose 3 colors, 4, 5, 6. I personally don't think that anyone should go over 5 colors. That does not include white. Okay, your white is to tint your art, tint your colors. And you can add shade to your colors by darkening them using a dark color. You don't have to use black in your paintings. And we have established that a long time ago. Okay, so white is not my color, but I have my 5 that I chose. I'm using a warm gray. So I'm going to put my warm gray on my palette. And yes, this is pretty messy, but when I did my swatches, I also want to keep some spaces to remix the colors. And with oil paints, I leave those colors on my palette so that I can remember how I mixed it and use it to test run. So I have a warm gray color here. It's by um, how you say that? Selinaire. Okay. I got it on Amazon. So you can just really uh, Google or put on Amazon search warm gray, and it has a light brown grayish tint to it. A really good skin undertone color, like my hand here, the undertone of my hand has warm grays in it, some peaches and reds. Okay, then I have a vibrant, radiant violet. This is through Gambling because I wanted earth tone. Okay, earth. So you can see these are really muted earth tone colors. Then I have my yellow ochre. Okay, I have my red, which is going to be the mortem, caput mortem. And then I have my phthalo turquoise. Okay. Now, why did I choose those colors? First of all, I chose those colors because I wanted to get my primary colors. What are my primary colors? Red, yellow, and blue, right? And so here would be my yellow, my warm gray, and my yellow ochre. So I have two yellows. Why? Because I'm doing a sheep, and that's going to be my undertone. So I knew that I wanted to my dominant color to be my yellow. Okay, my red. Okay, here is going to be my red. Okay, the mortem, and then of course violet has red in it. So I wanted to tone the red down by using the radiant violet, which is really like a light violet, and you can see that right here. And then my blue, my turquoise is my family of blue. So as you know, now I have my yellows, my reds, and my blues. Okay, and that's how I choose my color palette. Now let's talk about muting the colors. Muting the colors is when you are mixing your primary colors together. Okay, let me put a little more of the mortem there. Let's just get those colors down, shall we? I'm gonna put a little more violet here. I got my warm gray down. I'm gonna put a little more violet right there. I'm gonna throw some yellow ochre over here with the family of yellow ochre mixes that I made. Your color palette could be fun. I like my color palette. Once you have designed and drew everything out, you want your color palette to really stand out. You might need a big one. You can use a glass color palette, put a gray sheet under it, or not. If you don't want to do a gray sheet, you can do a white sheet under it. And then I'm going to put plain white over here, but I know I'm not going to use a lot of plain white in my painting, okay, guys? I'm just not going to. Only where I know my highlights should be on my sheep, which is going to be a couple of those curly wools. So I have all 5 of my colors, and then my neutral white. I have my radiant, my red, my warm gray, my turquoise, my yellow ochre. I'm going to grab me my brush. I'm going to use my rosemary brushes today. And here is a brush holder that I got on Amazon, and it keeps your brushes inside of this. You roll it up. And I like this because some of you are starting to leave brushes in water, and your paint thinner, and that is not good. You want to clean your brushes really nicely, and as you see here, you want to lay them inside of some kind of storage where they can be flat and the bristles can not spread so much. I'm going to use a number, what? I'm going to use a number 8 small. Okay.
Good morning.
And so what I'm going to do here, I'm recording. Good morning. I'm putting my liquid off to the side in this little container, because if I put it on my palette, it's going to drip. Okay, so I'll have this close to me. I like to dip into my liquid, put a little bit right here so I can use it when I'm mixing my other colors. So I'm going to start in the shadows, okay? Let me pull this up just a little bit so you can see my reference for a second. Here is my reference photo of my sheep. I printed it out in black and white. I always do references in black and white because sometimes I don't like to use the colors that are from a traditional colors. I must say, I'm more of a contemporary artist where I'll mix traditional colors with non-traditional colors. So I only need to see the values, what is dark, where is medium, where is light, and then I input the colors from my color palette into what is dark, medium, and light. Okay, so I'm going to start that. Let's get this where I want it to be so you can see really nicely. Let's get you some water. And I'm going to work in my shadows first. And I'm going to look here and see where my shadow colors are. They're going to be my darker values. When using oil paints, everybody, you want to start with your darker color. When you're using acrylics, you can start with a lighter color if you wanted to, and then work your way light to dark. But I typically work dark to light with oil paints. So I'm going to mix my shadow color right here. It's my red and my turquoise, my red and my blue. And then, of course, that shadow color is way too dark, right? And so I'm going to take my white and tint it. And I'm going to give my very best to create what my color swatch is over here. And I'm noticing that it's working out so far. Adding a little more red into there, a little more blue. And you just keep mixing your color palette as you need to fit. Oh, a little more red. And see how I did a color test right there? I actually painted inside of that swatch to make sure it matched, and it didn't. So now it does. It's a perfect value. That's how you can remix your colors. Some of you are getting lost in your paintings and you're forgetting what you've mixed. You forget what you have created. Now this is a good way to remember what you mixed. By putting your palette here and mixing your colors on it, creating your color swatches, and then doing what I did right there to test out whether those color swatches are matching what you remixed, okay? Now, I'm going to only put these shadow colors exactly where I see my shadows are. Being very, very careful. And I'm going to obviously fix some of those details there, my lines. I just like to lay down my values first. I'll stay in the shape of it, but I don't go as detailed until later, okay? So I know that I want a little bit of that shadow color in the eyes. Underneath his neck, of course, the shadow color. In the ear, the folds of the ear. Okay, we want that as well. So my demonstration today was basically to show you how to mix warm, muted colors, how to create your color swatches, and how to use your palette to help you with your swatches. Okay, now I need to go a little lighter, okay, because we always interested in transitioning our colors, no matter what that color is. It can be your shadow color, it can be any color you want. You never want to lay a dark area down without transitioning to go lighter. So right here, that value transition is happening. I did a really, really dark value under that chin. Now I am placing a little lighter version of that right here. And it got lighter. I don't know if you'll be able to see that as much on the screen. Let's see. Savannah, or no, Allison A. Can you turn on the light that's right here in front so that they can make sure that they really seeing these values change? I meant the other Allison, she was closer, I'm sorry. The one right here by my desk on the wall. Thank you so much. I'm sorry, I didn't mean for you to walk all the way over there. Okay, now, if you can see that, it's a really, really dark value with this color swatch, and then I started to add more white to that, and it got lighter. Okay, I put that swatch right there too to show you. Let's answer that. Art room. Yes, ma'am. I don't have a Keisha in here today. Painting. I got my painting keys today, so it's so it's 8 a.m. No problem.
Look at all these chickens.
All right, so back to it. Sometimes I'll put that lighter version of what I'm transitioning over here to my color swatches to make sure there's not too much of a jump from dark to light. You don't want to go dark and then jump extremely light. That's not a smooth transition. A smooth transition is when you're gradually getting dark to light. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to continue to gradually fade and transition my shadow colors where they need to be. And I'm using a small brush right now just so that I can get what I need in here. I'm going to go just a tad lighter now. So I added a little more white, and I see where I want to put that. And because I'm still in the shadow, I want to do the reflective light. Reflective light is always in the shadow. Where is reflective light? Thank you. Always in the shadow. That's that light that's in the shadow that you be like, is that a highlight? No, it's actually not a highlight. It's a reflective light. It's that light that hid inside that shadow that makes us so confused. But it also, reflective light also gives form to your object. It makes that form, that transition in the form. So if you remember when we did the egg earlier in the year, we painted that egg. You put reflective light in that egg. The whole purpose of doing that exercise It was not just to paint an egg, obviously, but to teach you how to transition your values. And if you learn how to transition values with just black and white, you will quickly adapt to transitioning values with color, okay? I kind of say that it's like chemistry. Painting is like chemistry sometimes. If you can sit there and you can be patient enough to mix colors and have fun mixing those colors, you can really learn to paint better or just learn painting. Some people get really frustrated with painting because they don't want to sit and learn the chemistry behind color blending, color theory. That color theory is, in my opinion, is all about the chemistry of mixing colors, right? So this is traditional sheet, yet this is not a traditional way of painting. I'm really not using the colors that a sheet would be all the way. So I muted my color, my mixing my red and my blue together. That was my mortem and my turquoise. And then I lightened it up, which gave me this muted shadow color. And then I can keep doing that over and over by mixing and using my primary colors together as I go. So I'm going to switch over to my larger brush now to finish out everything. So was this informational for you guys?
Yes.
Awesome. I was hoping so.
Good morning.
Good morning, my love.